So recently I finally got around to watching the Warcraft movie, now renamed Warcraft The Beginning. And it was a bit it wasn't as bad as I was led to believe. So let me just okay, so Warcraft and me, we don't go that way back. We go back to Warcraft 2. Um, so I didn't get to experience Warcraft 1 firsthand. I do, however, know what, happens in the game. So the movie is a little bit weird in that regard. Warcraft is one of those franchises that I'll suddenly get a burst of interest in and return to and read up on what's happened since I was in it last, and I'll play it for a bit. Maybe I'll buy a month of game time for World of Warcraft and play that through, and then abandon it again completely. But at least now I know the lore changes, what's happened and stuff. So the last time I played World of Warcraft seriously was when Cataclysm was still relatively new. Of course, I've played Warcraft 3, Warcraft 2, Frozen Throne quite a bit. Mostly Warcraft 2. The Warcraft movie, on the other hand, tells the story of Warcraft 1, or so you should think. But there's a lot of discrepancies. It's kind of like the Hobbit movies in that the guy who made it is apparently a big Warcraft fan. The director behind it, I'll have his name on screen. He's apparently a big Warcraft fan, and he has put in a lot of stuff that we now know was going on at the time in the background. But he does so at the cost of making a good movie, basically. Making a functional narrative. Basically, we know from the beginning, from the intro of Warcraft 2, that canonically the Orcs won the first war. We know that the Orcs poured into Azeroth and basically made all the humans flee their homelands, and somewhere in the middle of all that, Medivh was involved, and the king got killed and stuff like that. We know that happened for sure. I believe you even fight Medivh in Warcraft 1, but I don't know that firsthand. I've been told later on, but I remember reading that you fight Medivh later on. So that is in the game, but there's also a lot of jumping from place to place. It's like they're trying to pull the neutral card a little bit too hard, and they do so at the cost of again, a coherent narrative. The Orc side of things focuses a lot on Durotan, who was not a thing during Warcraft 1. Durotan, I believe, is not mentioned till the book Lord of the Clans, which is Thrall's origin story. And in the same way, this movie pushes Thrall's origin story 20 years back, 20 years earlier. It also this also seems to have been going on over the course of a week, which is really weird because I believe Warcraft 1 takes place over the course of at least several months. But the way the movie's shot, the way the movie is made, makes it seem like the entire movie takes place over the course of a week or two, at most a week. all the characters a lot younger than they're supposed to be, which I can kind of forgive. Like they want popular actors there, though I couldn't really like I didn't really recognize any of the actors beside King Lane, who is played by name on screen, who is better known as Howard Stark from the Marvel Cinematic Universe. So they kind of try and make the movie as marketable, and at the same time, like while trying to make the movie marketable to new people, they're name dropping way too many things, including way too much stuff, which actually at the same time alienates newcomers like completely from the movie. If you are not, if you do not at least have a passing knowledge of Warcraft, I really do not recommend watching this movie at all. I personally rented it on our digital box. We have a digital box for watching TV, set up to the TV for watching digital channels. Cable box, I guess it's called. It lets me rent movies sometimes, and I rented it on that, and I'm glad I didn't watch it in theaters last year, because I think I would have gone out of the theater with like a very confused feeling, and like, why the frick did they allow this to happen? The movie will constantly jump from place to place. The movie will constantly drop. As I said, there's name dropping here and there and anywhere, everywhere, and the actors do not feel comfortable saying those place names at all. They'll go like, "Oh, we have to go to Booty Bay," and it's like, yeah, that's called Booty Bay, but Booty Bay does not actually show up in this movie, but just as an example, let's go to the Hillspread foothills, and I'll mention the Hillspread foothills, and it's like, okay, that's, I guess, is a problem with Warcraft as a whole. Like none of the places sound natural. they do sound like made up children's names for things, and trying to put that into a serious context really like destroys everything. I will say it is a gorgeous movie, though. It is a beautiful, beautiful movie. Like the orcs look great. The costumes and the sets are wonderful. Like, it's a beautiful movie. It really looks like the Warcraft universe come to life. I just wish they had some more experienced, I want to say, writers working on this movie, because what they did was they fell into the trap of trying to make a fantasy movie when they should have made a war movie. It is a war game. It is a strategy. Warcraft is a strategy, real-time strategy game series, and or at least the original trilogy was. And here they're focusing too much on single players in the field. Like, a lot of things that we only know because it's mentioned in Warcraft 3 goes on screen and is focused on screen in this movie when it really shouldn't have been. The Orcs take way too long to come to Azeroth, and instead, instead of making it a war movie, and instead of making it like the Orcs' war efforts in Azeroth and the human efforts to fight back this new sudden enemy they never heard of before, they instead focus on all the things we later know went on behind the scenes. They spent way too much focusing on that. And instead of like having, like, they should have had soldiers reporting to the generals in the field and having actual war going on. I think you only see like as far as combat between the humans and the orcs is concerned, you only really see that like once or twice in the entire movie. There are a couple battle scenes, but way too many of them are between 2 or 3 people. Considering it's a war movie, it's supposed to be a war movie. It's a war franchise. Um, so I don't know. They really dropped the ball in that case. I heard the movie did really well in China, so I don't know if there's even gonna be a second movie because as far as everything else is concerned, it did really poorly, and I doubt any of the actors would be all that interested in returning to their roles. Um, it is a movie way too concerned with setting up the well-known status quo, and not really concerned with exploring what they could do with that part of Warcraft history. And that is such a shame because I know so many people would have considered this a passion project to be able to write this. And it seems like the director really wanted to include as much lore as possible. But instead he focused too much on getting so much, like the movie chokes on the Warcraft lore and it just cannot keep up with so much stuff. There's supposed to be going so much stuff on, and instead of like just making some of this big 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 surprises in Warcraft 2 and Warcraft 3 like it actually was in the game. They push it forward. They push it to the limelight, and that is such a shame. Durotan and his wife and the Frostwolf clan being as much in the forefront as they were was also like a huge mistake. I know it's because Thrall is the most popular orc character in the entire franchise, but Thrall wasn't born till Warcraft 2 originally, and here he is being born during Warcraft 1 and like focusing so much on setting up the status quo of Warcraft 3 and World of Warcraft that you forget like what part of history you were supposed to tell us. And that is such a shame. It would be like making a World War One movie and focusing on this lonely German foot soldier called Hitler who did really poorly and was sent to the infirmary and spent most of the war there. Just so they could set up a sequel set during World War Two. That's what it would be like. That's the real world equivalent of that. Make a French Revolution movie focusing on this no-name general called Napoleon, and then make a sequel being that's the Napoleonic Wars. That's what this is. It's such a shame. They really missed out on what could have been a really interesting part of Warcraft history. And what could have been a really cool fantasy war movie, because I don't think we've had one of those. Like, as many war movies as we've had, we haven't really had a fantasy war movie. We've had medieval war movies, and of course, like, Lord of the Rings takes place during a war, but we haven't really had a grand-scale fantasy war movie. That is just only the war, like an actual war movie, like shot like you would shoot Saving Private Ryan or something like that. So yeah, that's my sense on that. That is such a shame. It feels like a huge missed opportunity. I hope that if they end up doing Warcraft 2, they do not rush through it and try and focus on Ner'zhul, which would be, I guess, who they would focus on during Warcraft 2. When he's not relevant till the Dark Portal, really. So, thank guys for watching this rambling review of the movie, and I don't remember having a bad time watching it, but again, like, looking back, like, I can't really recommend it to anyone who has not, like me, been waiting for the movie and just wanted the hype to die down. Yeah. Go play the game. Go read the book, Lord of the Clans. That's a really good read. That's a really good... Read the books. The books are excellent. Go read the books. Okay. Bye.